Top 6 of the most aggressive and brutal openings for white and black in 2025. Let's start off with the first opening, e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6. Starting off with the 4 knights game, and this first gambit is called the Halloween Gambit. Why did I pick this? Because it is a very rare gambit in which you take the pawn on e5, sacrifice our knight. Why are we doing this? Because we are gonna go and have spatial advantage to that knight. We are gonna go and bulldoze the knight on e5, making it go back or go here. If it goes back on c6, we will go pawn to d5. They have to move their own knight back to b8. Again, for us, we're still gonna bulldoze them with pawn to e5, attacking their own knight on f6, and then they have to go back. This gambit is effective because it is very rare and very aggressive in taking spatial advantage, and it is very hard for your opponents to play. And for some sidelines, if they go knight to e5, we will go pawn to f4, gaining more space over here, and they have to go back. Now we have this very position where e5 attacks the other knight on f6. Now they have to go back, and this Halloween Gambit is so powerful right now because it has so much center and so strong that we will just bulldoze the king in the center right here because it is not yet even castled and we have so much piece play. Now let's move on to the next gambit. Pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to c3, and we have after f6 the Vienna Gambit. The Vienna Gambit, if they take the pawn, we will go pawn to e5, pushing the knight. They cannot go here, they cannot go here, they cannot go here, they cannot go here. They must go back. And so what will happen is that we will develop the knight on f3. We got 2 pieces developed. They got none of the pieces developed on their side of the board. What will happen? They will go pawn to d6. We will go pawn to d4, reinforce that pawn because they're attacking our pawn. So folks, if they take our pawn, we are gonna go bishop to b5 and check them straight away. The Vienna Gambit is so aggressive. It is a very, very good gambit in which we have so much development. And also, not to mention, what will happen in this position is that they have to go c6. We will have to go bishop to c4, stay away from danger, and focus on this f7 pawn, because what will happen is that they might take our pawn on d4. We are gonna let them take our knight. Bishop to b4, and if they take our knight, we sacrifice the bishop on f7 because this queen is about to take the other queen. Now, if they go and don't take the bishop, well, folks, we have another move. Queen to e2, check on e7. They can take, but what will happen is that we will go knight to e5, check them again, and e8 is a move, but not really that good. It is a check, and they have to move the king again. We will take the queen. But folks, if they don't move there, but instead move here, well, folks, we are gonna go bishop to g5, the king to take the bishop on g5, and what will happen is a fork on the f7 square. They have to move their king, and we will take the queen. But folks, if none of that happens, but instead, if they block instead of taking our own bishop, well, folks, we will just go and take that bishop on e6, and it's just mate. It's just dead on mate. That is it for the Vienna Gambit. e4, the most popular move. e5, the most popular response. And we have the Ponziani. And if they go knight to f6, the core mechanics of this opening is to have this pawn over here very strong and this pawn very weak. Why? If they first take the pawn on d4, we will go push the pawn on e5 and attack the knight. They have to move. It's like the Halloween Gambit. Bishop to c4, and they have to go here on b6, and we're just gonna plant the bishop on b3. These knights are very weak, and this pawn is very strong right now, which can destroy the center. And also, not to mention, this pawn is about to take this pawn. If they were to take the other pawn, which is on e4, we are gonna go d5 and attack the other knight instead. And what will happen is that they have to go knight to e7. We will take the pawn on e5, and we have just 2 pieces lying on the center of the board. Why? Because d6, if d6, well, folks, you could get a trap, something like this. Bishop to b5, check. They have to go here. They have to block. We are gonna take. If they take back, what will happen is that we take. They have to take, and we will go here and triple fork them. But folks, if they don't do that, but instead have this instead, we are gonna go take that bishop on d7. They take back. We still win with piece advantage. Have to take because it's checkmate if they don't take. What will happen if none of that happens? Well, folks, if queen to b6, trying to threaten mate, this is literally nothing because we can go pawn to b7, that's check. And what will happen is that they have to move the king, and we have to go check them again with a knight, they have to go king to c7 in such a position that we can fork them with a knight from a promoted pawn. Now, folks, this is the Ponziani opening. Now let's move on to the other opening, which is e4, e5, and we have the King's Gambit. The King's Gambit is very effective because it is a very rare gambit. If they take the pawn on f4, we are gonna gain full control of the center with knight to f3 with this pawn on the center. They have to go pawn to g5. We are just gonna go calmly develop our knight on this side of the board because no matter what happens over here, if they go pawn here, we can just sacrifice the knight on f3 because if they take our knight, we take back, they go queen to f6, we got full development to go knight to d5, and they have to go queen to d6. What will happen there is we go and d4. This is a very strong center. Very good development than our opponent. Plus, we are the ones attacking. Now, the next gambit I would like to show you is the Danish gambit after they take d4. We are gonna go c3 and try to gambit another pawn because we are gonna go and develop another piece on c4. They take on b2 and we are gonna go bishop b2 taking back that pawn. Now what happens here is that we have so many aggressive pieces trying to bulldoze over the king with these bishops. Now what will happen is that if they go bishop to b4, this is nothing because I guarantee you knight to d2 is a very good block where they go knight to f6 and try to attack this e4 pawn, but we just go forward with it and push it, and now they have to move the knight. They have to go e4. The main tactic is to sacrifice the bishop on f7 after we attack the knight. Because now, when we sacrifice our bishop and check them, they have to take. We will go queen to b3. That's a check. They will go here, and en passant is possible. So we do that. And you notice that is also a fork. We are gonna take that bishop. They will likely try to trade the knight on d2. But we're just gonna check them, and the very, very main core mechanic of this gambit or this Danish gambit is to give checks and also to be aggressive and also try to bulldoze your opponent as much as possible in some traps. Again, we can take the pawn on c7. They will have to move. We will go and take the knight on b8. This is a check. They have to take. We will go and take that back. This is very well a win for white because we have plus 5 points of material. Another thing that they can try is d6, but it's not very much reliable because we go knight to f3. What sometimes happens is we go and sacrifice the f7 bishop because if they take, we go knight to e5, sacrifice our own knight because if they take, we will take the queen. And folks, I recommend you to try this Danish gambit, and now we are moving on to the last opening, which is the Alpine Sicilian. Which is a counter-attack to the Sicilian because after e4, c5, we go pawn to c3, they have to go knight to c6 because it is a Sicilian, and we are gonna go d4. We take advantage of the Sicilian and by supporting our center very strongly because the main mechanics of the Sicilian is to take the center and to fight the center with a flank pawn. But folks, that is not anymore possible because we exchange our center pawn with another pawn from our own flank pawn on c3. And what will happen is that they will try to take the center on d5. We will go knight to c3, attack their pawn on d5, which is very weak. They will have to take on e4. They might take on e4. The art of the Alpine Sicilian is to try to attack the knight and gain the strongest center, which we have. And now, they have to move the knight to b4. But if b4 happens, it's still a fork. So if they do that, we will just take the knight. But folks, if they don't do that and instead go e5, well folks, we are gonna go queen to a4, a check to the king on e8, and they will go bishop to d7, try to block that. We will still take the pawn on e4 and attack the knight on e5. And the most popular moves and the most natural moves. And a game might go something like this. And this is a very good trap for white that to remember. We're gonna go knight to b5. They might go knight to f6, and it's already mate in 1 with a suffocation of our mate on e8, and that is just mate in 10. So I think those are all the openings and the best gambits for 2025 because they are very rare, very aggressive, and of course most of our opponents are humans, so they might not respond very well to these, and I will guarantee you, you will win more often with these kinds of openings than with other openings. That just try them. See you guys in the next video. Peace out. I have analyzed so far all of the games, openings. See you guys in the next video. Peace out. Please like and subscribe if you want to, okay? Peace out.